Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So what was the last verse in chapter 2 we were reading?
2.14.
2.14. We discussed quite a bit on this one, isn't it? Okay, just a quick one. I think Kalpesh has already sent the message to everyone that we will be having from next week onwards, we'll be having only Sundays. So Saturday will be merged with Sunday.
But they're in different verse, Prabhuji. So how will we do?
Yeah, so we'll continue from where we are on Saturday's verses, 1.24 at the moment. So that will be a revision as well for you guys, and we'll catch up. Maybe 20, 30 verses behind, but we will catch up with it.
Okay.
It will be easier that way because people are there as well from this session. So it makes easier for everyone to be on Sunday. And Saturday people are not able to make it for some reasons. Some are working, some are doing something and all that. So
Yeah,
Right.
a lot of people. Yeah.
okay.
Very
So
good.
2.14. Now I think everybody would know this verse by heart. So you can recite it without looking at the book straight away.
Looking at the
Yes.
book.
Would you like to try? Rishi or Randhir or Kalpesh? Yes. You can go for it. Very important verse.
मात्र स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय शीतोक्षण दुःख शीतो.
So are you reading?
Yeah.
Oh, I said you would remember this verse now. We have done it about 10 times now, isn't it?
Oh.
Isn't
Okay.
it? We have done it 10 times. Rishi, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Why? I mean, you should remember this one now. It should be on the tip of your tongue. So what it tells me that from the last time you haven't seen this verse. That's what I hear, right? This way you will not be able to understand Bhagavad Gita. Let me be very blunt with you. It is the interrupted journey. You won't enjoy it. You won't enjoy that. No. It has to be read. The verses are to be read as it is. See, what we are trying to do is trying to understand Bhagavad Gita, translate it from Sanskrit to English, then interpret it in a different way and then understand it. This is what we are trying to do. Basically, it is not organic, as I put it. Organic is direct Sanskrit. So if you cannot connect to the organic part of Bhagavad Gita, if you cannot read, if you cannot understand that, the journey will not continue. So you have to read the verses, understand the verses. It's not an activity which you have to do every day or something. Even if you do it once in 3 or 4 days, for even half an hour, if you recite the verse for 5, 6 times, you'll be able to get the verse and understand the meaning of it. Okay, so if you don't remember the Sanskrit, don't worry about it. That's okay. You can read the Sanskrit later. Just tell me the translation without looking into the book. Can you do that?
So can I go?
Yeah, go for it.
O son of Kunti, winter and summer, as well as Sukh and Dukh, are all temporary. You are a descendant of Bharat. Is that correct or wrong, sir?
Very, very partial. I would say 20% of the verse.
Right.
Yeah. Someone would like to add to it? Some more
So
additional. So he's given at least 20%. Randhir. Thanks, Randhir.
yes. So basically, the same. Continuing on that,
Yeah.
these are just like the coming and going of summer and winter. So they are temporary. So try to tolerate them.
Okay, so that's some addition. Okay, so uh, what did you say, Rishi? What are that?
It is like this
Temporary.
temporary, like the summer, like different the summer and winter. So like the seasons are nothing is permanent. It keeps changing. So
Hmm.
similarly, uh, it's changing. So you just try to
All right. Okay, so
tolerate it.
20% more. So now we are 40%. So we are lacking three more points. 60%. Kalpesh, can you finish the three more points? Okay. So what is Krishna telling Arjun in 2.14 is Matra Sparshastu Kaunteya, that Shitoshna Sukha Dukkhada, this non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, these are the important points. Temporary, you are right. What is winter and summer? It is like happiness and distress. The non-permanent or temporary appearance of happiness and distress is like summer and winter. They come and they go away. They are nothing but they are sense perceptions. Matra sparshastu. So sparsha is the sense. So they are the sensory perceptions. Perceptions. Yeah, it's not a real thing. It is perception. Very important word. Yeah.
Hmm.
They arise from sense perception, and one must learn to tolerate them. Tam titikshasva bharata. This is the complete understanding of it.
But Prabhuji,
Now, yeah, yes, Randeep.
doesn't perception become reality?
Yeah, this is the question which I'm going to ask next. So, why it is called perception? Why are we saying perception? This we discussed this before.
Because sorry, earlier I was trying to fix my mic, so it was not
Okay, okay, that's fine. So, can you
decided.
recite the verse now without looking? Okay, can you say the translation without looking? Full translation without looking? Okay, fine. Okay, so we'll continue what we were discussing with. All right. Yes. So, why are we saying perception? That's my question on this
Because
verse.
because we think we are a body, so I mean we perceive that we are a body and not a soul. So that's why we get so entangled in this sukha dukkha.
Anyone else like to try? Why is it a perception?
So they are basically phases, as Kalpesh mentioned. The way I see it is, they are phases. They are by themselves, they're irrelevant, or they're not necessarily concrete unless and until we rely upon by our senses. I mean, water by itself will be water, but unless and until you put your hand in it, you won't know the touch of it. So how the question is, it's all the perception. It's unless and until you try to feel the experience that you try to gain and saying is this is good, this is bad. If you if you're influenced by that, that's the only thing which basically it all tied your experiences are tied to your senses. And I believe he's trying to say is don't only be impacted by your keep your senses out of the picture.
Rishi, you want to add something?
I think sense perception. See, we're talking about happiness and dukkha dukkha. So, like happiness and pain. The what we've understood about the soul is Satchidananda. So it is always in bliss.
Mhm.
So if you are feeling these temporary happiness and sadness, it cannot be linked to the soul. It is linked to the body. As long as you identify yourself with the body, you will keep facing these things, and you have to tolerate it.
Very nice
Very good.
understanding. Very nice
Very good.
understanding. Okay, so let's go back to what we had discussed earlier. So the question before we answer why is this a perception? Matra sparshastu, as we say, sparsha, it is only a sensory perception, as Krishna says. Why is he saying matra sparshastu? Is because there are two elements we are talking here. We are talking the body and we are talking about the soul.
So, okay.
So, who is in happiness and who is in distress? The question comes, is it the body or is it the soul?
So,
Now, the question is that who is in distress? Now, let's understand the characteristics of each of these elements. So, one of the element which is soul, soul's nature is that it is Sat Chit Anand. Nature means its form, not the purpose as we talk about, or the dharma, that is also a nature, but
Property.
the characteristics
Yeah.
or the state, as we said, not the characteristic, the state. The state of a soul is always ananda, always in bliss. When it comes in contact with the body, that's the time when it is encapsulated in the body. Otherwise, if the body is not there, it is Satchidanand. That is the state of soul. Okay. Now, what is body? The second element. Body is made up of, we discussed all the elements.
Mhm,
The gross elements, subtle elements,
mhm,
indriya, different indriya, karmendriya, gyanendriya. Yes, you know all that, right?
mhm. Yes.
So all that is nothing but they are matter. Matter which is made up of five elements: earth, water, air, fire, and ether. Now, can these elements experience happiness or distress? No, we can say that because we are easily able to touch the matter and the matter does not feel anything. That's the understanding, right? So if there is a log of wood, we touch that, that's matter. So there is no happiness, distress on that one. If we have any kind of matter which is around us, if we touch it, it doesn't have happiness or distress in it. So the body, which is made up of matter, does not have happiness and distress in it. The soul, whose constant state is bliss, ananda, satchit ananda. So who is under happiness and distress? That is the question. Neither body, neither soul. Who is under stress? That is the reason Krishna says that the soul, when it comes in contact with the body, it perceives that it is under happiness and distress. That is why it is just a perception. Whose perception it is? It is the soul's perception that it is in this happiness or distress. Actually, it is not. And that perception, that sensory perception is nothing but Maya. So Maya is not matter. Matter is material, or it is gross, or it is bhautik. It is matter as we see it. This is all matter. Soul is Satchid Ananda. It's a different element or a different substance altogether. The nature of that substance is different to matter. That is the reason the matter cannot see it, because it's a different natured substance. Does it make sense?
Prabhuji,
So there are two different substances. One is spirit or soul, and one is matter. Body is made up of matter, soul is made up of spirit. Does it make sense? Two
Yes.
different substances. Two different substances. Yes, Randhir.
sir, but how does this actually, what happens to the interaction between two bodies and two souls, when they come into contact with each other, supposing there's a conflict,
Conflict of what?
yeah, between the two, how does that? I mean, it's like, yes, uh, they. I mean, when when we're talking about matter, in this case, the matter feels, right?
No,
I
matter does not feel. Matter does not feel. Does a log of wood feel something? How would you say
so
it is feeling something?
No, I'm not talking about a class log of wood. I'm determining another body as
Okay,
matter.
body. So body, when the
Uh-huh.
soul is not present in the body, that element, the substance soul or the spirit is not present in the body, a dead body, does it feel anything? Are you able to
No,
hit it?
no, but I'm talking about a live person. I'm
Okay,
talking about
okay.
a live body.
So okay. So let's understand this very clearly. When you talk about
Uh-huh.
body, we are
Right.
only talking about the dead matter. We are not talking about
Okay.
the soul.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, very clear. So body, I mean dead body.
Right, sir. Thank you.
Body is dead. It is because the soul is present inside it. It is alive.
Okay. Okay. Thank you
So
so much.
if you see a dead body, people keep logs of wood on top of it. Do they care that it will feel anything? But if it was a
No.
live person, would you keep those logs of wood in? Would you bury it? You will not, right?
Right. Right. Right.
Would you throw sand on the body? No. Would you hit the body? Would you put anything on that body? Would you nail it would you like to do all those things? No.
No, sir.
You will be careful, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's a very funny thing which I saw recently. They were trying to imitate a dead body. So they slept on those what do you call it? Before before cremating a body, they keep it
Right.
on that they make a small little thing with which they carry and take it to the crematorium, right? What do they
Right.
call it? Shaya, something shaya. you
Uh-huh.
know they create that, they prepare that, and they take it.
Right.
So these guys were trying to imitate dead bodies, that we will sleep and we will imitate the dead body. So they were sleeping, and one guy got, he got hit by a nail in his leg, very sharp nail. He went inside. He went to and complained that guy, how you guys make such bad these chayas. He said, "Oh, आज तक कभी complaint आया नहीं है ना." तो हमको पता नहीं पहला complaint है ये. Which makes sense. The dead bodies can't complain. You do whatever with them. So a body does not feel anything. It doesn't have happiness, it doesn't have distress, it doesn't have pain, it doesn't have sorrow, nothing. No problem at all with the dead body. And the soul by itself is Satchidanand. It is in happiness, is in bliss. So where is the problem? You understand my question?
Yes, sir.
So where is this happiness and distress? This happiness and distress, Krishna says in this verse. So this verse becomes very important. The reason why we have done this verse so many times and still we are not able to get the knack of this verse is because this verse is very, very important. And we have to digest this verse very carefully. That's why we do this all the time. This should be understood loud and clear.
But I
That,
still had a question, sir. I have one
yeah,
confusion.
yes.
Okay. The soul is at Anand, right? That's its state, right? And it comes into contact with the body. And the body is the one which is actually doing the good deeds, the bad deeds. But if the soul is in a state of bliss, and when it is actually, when a person is reborn, and there's this concept of when you're moving towards moksha, and we're talking about some of them go forward, some of them take lesser time and more time. Isn't so if you are already in a state of bliss and you're carrying the karma over from the previous life, so doesn't that impact the soul? I mean, how can you be in a state of bliss
So where
and
is
still
the
carry over the
so who
sorry?
who carries the karma? You're talking about karma. Who carries karma?
The soul, right?
Body,
Okay, so now there
subtle
you
body.
go. Now let's go back to the. So I think, do we have the circles? The
Yes,
first
yes.
three circles we had created. Who has it? Can they share their screen if they have it on the screen? Kalpesh might have it.
It's on the chat only.
It's on the chat.
Oh,
No.
wonderful.
Subtle body, mind.
Where, on this chat?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes. I'll reshare it.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Have a look.
Forward. 1 second. I've reshared it in the group.
Okay. Can you see that in WhatsApp, Randeep?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What do you understand with that? Let me have a look at the
So
share.
there's a soul. There's a subtle body.
No, not this one. Wrong share. Who
Not
shared
this
this?
one.
You remember, Rishi?
I shared it.
No. Is this the one which I'm talking about?
No, sir.
I,
Where is the karma associated? With what karma is associated? We have the diagram for that also. Who can share that?
okay, okay.
1 by 4 0.
I thought this one also answers the question, but I'll. Yeah.
Not this question, unfortunately. Not Randhir's question. Ideally, Randhir should have those circles because he has attended that session as well.
Okay, I
But
have.
I think
Sorry,
he might have lost it somewhere.
I
I have
have shared
reshared.
it.
You come back again?
Yeah.
Physical body.
Yes,
Subtle
that's the
body.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So
Okay.
where is karma associated?
With the subtle body and the physical body.
So it is not associated with the soul. Very
Okay.
clear
Okay.
understanding.
Okay. Okay.
If this is not understood, if this is not understood, you cannot go to chapter 2. You cannot open chapter 2. Trust me. This is the fundamental understanding. Karma is not associated with your soul. Very, very clear. A soul is always in bliss.
Mm.
And the reason why you get a body is because of your karma. Understand this. And it doesn't come once, huh? Trust me. This understanding doesn't come once. That is the reason I tell you that you should go back and read this. Otherwise, you'll forget what we have done in the past. And the fundamentals have gone again. You'll keep going back to the same thing again and again. आगे नहीं बढ़ोगे इधर से आगे बढ़ना है ना 18 चैप्टर है चैप्टर 2 से आगे निकलना है अपने को that's why it's a good thing we go back to chapter 1 we'll come back to these things but this is the fundamental understand the components very very clearly what are these components yes Rishi
So, on this related question only, because we're talking about Satchidananda.
yes
So, Sat, Chit, Anand, three components. So, Sat means
yes
eternal, Chit means all knowledge, and Anand
yes
means bliss. So,
bliss
eternal, first part, Sat, I can understand. So,
eternal
you can
means
prove
it,
it.
it it no eternal means it never dies
Never
it's
dies,
always there
correct.
yeah yeah
But the
it
second
never
two,
perishes yeah
yes, the first part I can believe. But the
yes
second two parts, how do we prove that, yes, it is
so
all
yeah
knowledge and it is
proving
all.
proving is not the question
But it is the
realizing
basis of understanding
I
2.18.
understand that but if you can understand it is eternal first yes it is eternal and if you can just for the time being know by the shastra by the vedic injunctions that it is always in bliss these two things if you are able to even read it at the moment and remember this that it is always in that state realization will come later
Okay. The only
because
reason I say because Anand, that part is so
yeah
important to believe or to understand that it is in bliss. Then only you can say that
yeah
all the pain and
yeah
suffering is not related to the soul.
correct so if it is in bliss if you realize that the only way the only way this soul comes to its pure form or realizes its pure form is when it takes bath in the name of the Supreme. So it is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. I will quote that verse. So when we take the names of the Lord, when we chant the names of the Lord, basically chanting means it, it covers a few things. When you chant, you also think, that is, your thoughts are in the names of the Lord. That is what is understood. So when we read something, or we, study something, that is the idea, that our thoughts are engrossed in that reading. You know, that is the, although it is not always the true, the way we do it, because that's the reason we lose focus and things like that. But the idea is that when you chant or when you read something, your thought should be engrossed in that. Okay. So what does chanting do? What does Krishna's name do? So that is mentioned in um, the Shastra called Chaitanya Charitamrita. And the first quote is from Shikshashtakam. That is the knowledge, Shiksha, 8 verses of Shiksha. The first one, it goes by explaining what does the chanting do. So it is Cheto Darpada Marjanam, Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam, Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, Vidyavadhu Jivanam, Anandam Buddhi Snapanam, Snapanam Purna Amrit Swadanam, Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. I'll share that verse with you in the chat. Shikshashtaka.
Sir,
Yes.
it's good that you brought that in because my belief was if the soul is always in a state of bliss, and if it is already there and it's able to maintain the equilibrium, then what's the point of going through this entire exercise? You get my point, right? I mean, if you're at that point, you're always in a state of bliss, then why go through the whole cycle of
Yeah, I'll come to that. Yeah.
right?
So this is the verse I'm talking about.
Very good question, Radhir.
So it is Cheto Darpada Marjanam, Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam, Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, Vidyavadhu Jivanam, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, Pratipadam Purna Amrita Swadanam, Sarvatma Snapanam, Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Would you like to read the translation of this, Randhir? Just the translation is in English at the bottom. Yeah, glory.
Okay. Glory to Shri Krishna, Sankirtana, chanting. Oh, sorry, that's congregational chanting of the Lord's holy names, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. Okay. That Sankirtana movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge.
Transcendental.
Sorry,
Yeah.
transcendental.
Yes. Transcendental
Transcendental.
knowledge.
Transcendental. Is that like moonlight, sir?
Yeah, something like that. Yes, transcendental. Yeah, it is.
Right,
It is compared to that. Yeah.
right. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Okay.
So this is the nature of the soul, to be in transcendental bliss. And someone who has really, actually, deeply chanted the names of the holy name of the Lord, he may not have experienced the whole bliss, but he would have experienced a few droplets of that bliss. That experience, that realization, very little, it comes, in fragments. But when we constantly keep on chanting the names of the Lord over a period of time, if we increase that kind of thought process and meditation on the chanting of the names of the Lord over a period of time, many souls, many devotees, they have realized that that is the actual nature of the soul,
Naturals.
that we are in bliss, that bliss is experienced. Ananda. And that anand, that bliss, the perverted image of that particular bliss is nothing but the sex life in this world. So, if you want to experience the actual bliss which people are thinking they will get from sex life, is actually experienced there, the real bliss, ananda. But they think that when there is um, uh, an intimate relationship between a male and a female here, that will give me bliss, that will give me ananda. That is not the actual ananda. That is a perverted image or the perverted reflection of that ananda. Everybody in this material world thinks that that intimate relationship is the charam sima of ananda. That is the ultimate ananda. That is what everyone is after. So if you see in this world, even the most, you know, oldest person, if you feel, he would also say that same thing. He would also have the same thing. He would also think about intimacy. Whatever the age may be of any person, he will always have that thing. No, the bliss or the ananda is in intimacy. But actually, it is in chanting of the names of the Lord and being in the thoughts of the Lord. That experience is Ananda. This, what we think, what is Ananda, that is Maya. Did I answer your question, Rishi?
Yep.
Okay, what was your question, Randir? Now you tell me.
So you answered a lot of my question. You answered a lot of things.
Kalpesh, you had any question?
Yeah, Radhir had asked a question earlier that if soul is a Sachidananda, then why do we have to go through this process of getting into the body and uh,
Because we don't think that that is the Ananda. We think the sexual pleasure is the Ananda. That is the perception.
is that the only reason?
It is the only reason, yes.
But Prabhuji, isn't that what's actually required for the continuation of the species? I mean, it's
Uh,
like if that was the case,
if that is the only reason,
uh-huh.
yeah, you wouldn't be constantly thinking about it in this world. Okay, everybody will be thinking only about the reproduction and that's it. No, it doesn't happen like that. It is not for that cause. It is for intimacy. It is for the sexual pleasure. It is for that desire, that anand which you think I will get from this. That is why that desire is there. It is not for only continuing your generation. It is not just that. If it was only for that, it is an approved intimacy by Krishna. We'll come to that later.
So you go through a bad marriage, the only thing you want is to have children, then you don't care about anything else.
It's not that. It is not
Uh,
that. It is basically on both sides. It is not just the male here. It is the male and the female. Stree Purush Janma Maithuna Bhav. That is the reason why you are in this world. That's what Srimad Bhagavatam explains. So the reason why we are in this body and we want to continue in this body is because we think that the intimate, the ultimate ananda I will get is from this body.
but the
But
body is
that is
temporary.
exactly. So you will never get it. Yeah.
So
So
that takes you
even
back to the same log of
so,
wood,
so
right?
even so even the little bit ananda which you get, which is the perverted ananda, that is also temporary. It's called Shanabhangur. It is not even minutes, it is seconds.
That's sad.
Mm. But that is the truth. But people would understand that. They again crave for it.
Yeah.
That is the sad part. It is called, Prabhupada used to call it, thorn chewing civilization. You know why
Wow.
thorn chewing civilization?
Yeah. Yeah.
Kalpesh, do you know why thorn chewing civilization?
Yeah, it's about camel in the desert. I
Yeah, camel
remember
in the desert.
you giving that example, like camel likes to eat the cactus,
Yes,
and when they're chewing it, actually what happens is uh, it actually
Makes
uh,
its
what-
tongue bleed.
yeah, it bits
yes.
is, yeah.
And that blood is mixed with the cactus and he eats it. He thinks it is, the
Very tasty. Yes.
saucy cactus. So he enjoys it more. He says it's more
Mhm.
tasty. That is the problem with this civilization. You lose your blood while craving or doing this for the sexual desires. But that losing that blood, you enjoy the most, just like the camel. But that is the perverted reflection. It is not real. So the one who has actually tasted the anand, the bliss, the actual bliss, not this perverted reflection, who has tasted the actual bliss of the soul, he will never ever like this again. And that is the reason you will find the self-realized sannyasis, they would never ever want to come closer to a woman. Not that they can't or they can't get intimate, but they don't want to because they have experienced something higher. Same case with, if you get a higher taste, you will never go to the lower one. Okay.
So going back to that, the stanza you made me read, right? That we all read
Yeah.
about chanting and how that
Yes.
actually allows um, the soul which is at what should I? It's at bliss, and
Hmm.
it actually makes the journey continue.
Which journey
How
continue?
well, basically, it's trying to get to the feet of the Lord, right?
It is trying to help you reach to that transcendental bliss, to
Right.
have that transcendental bliss always. So you understand the nature of your own self, that you are a soul and what state are you in. That is the job of chanting,
So
to make you experience that ananda, to make you
okay,
experience the soul.
So
your own
basically,
self. Yeah.
the chanting basically allows you to understand that you are a soul more than
Yes.
anything else. Okay.
Yes.
But
And
the question is, how do you arrive at that? I mean, how do you know that, this is my journey?
yeah,
How do you not know that, okay, I've reached this line and I need to go any further?
that's not a thesis or an experiment. It is more of a realization, which it will be hard for someone to share with you. It is something to experience. Sorry, I meant to say it is an experiment. It is not a theory which is to be understood by, and keep it in your knowledge uh, you know box that yes, I have done it. No, it is a realization, and it goes in what state someone in, he can only know. It will be very hard for someone to actually share it with you. It is experienced.
So someone can go through it for 2 years and someone can spend a whole lifetime without getting
Lifetime.
there.
Oh yeah, someone can get it
Without
in one. Someone can get it in a minute. It depends. But I've seen people changing after the realizations. I might not know because I'm personally not self-realized, but looking at the other people, I feel that they might be. You know? Okay. So, what is the understanding from this verse? What is the perception? Who's perceiving?
Soul.
Soul.
Good. So the soul is perceiving that it is under happiness or distress. So, what is Krishna telling Arjun? What is the message he's saying? That this is just a perception. And what do we do with perceptions? He is giving a solution. What do we do with perceptions? Good or bad?
Tolerate.
Just tolerate them. You can't do anything with perceptions, right? Can we do anything to the perceptions? I mean, our own perceptions. Can we do anything to that? No. We just have to tolerate them because they're just perceptions. Nothing real that is not real. He continues in 2.15. Yam hi na व्यथयन्ते येते पुरुषं पुरुषर्षभ समदुःख सुखम धीरम so amratvaya kalpate. He says, oh, best among men, Arjun, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. That means Krishna further continues. So, what is liberation? We talk about moksha, liberation. What is that?
Liberation is moksha, na?
But what is, ठीक है, the word, why say many words? What does it mean? Liberation,
To
moksha, what does that mean? What is that for you?
not getting into life and birth cycle.
Okay, all right, not getting to life. What does that mean?
so
Again,
this whole
practically. Sorry?
Going
this realization.
Absolutely. You don't have to leave this body. You don't have to leave this body to realize. You might realize being in this body, right?
hmm.
That is the beauty. That is the beauty of chanting. That is the beauty of meditation. The beauty
Hmm.
of chanting is that being in this body, you may realize the transcendental bliss and the nature of the soul. Then there is no coming back. Then you don't care whether you are in this body or not. Does it make sense? Because you have
Okay.
realized yourself, who you are. Till the
So
time
Prabhu,
we, yeah, yeah.
sorry, sir.
So
But
till the time we try to realize ourselves. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Randir.
so is that the reason why? I mean, if you follow, the Buddhists and the Jains, they go ahead and they lock themselves in a cave, or not eat water or give up food. Is that because they've realized that the body is that because they've already realized they've come to a realization already?
Okay. I don't know what is the process they follow. Not very sure. But what you are saying, based on that, I would say that you don't have to be harsh on your body to realize the soul.
No, they've given up. I mean, that's what they say is, you know what, we've already realized certain things. And then they say the body needs to be liberated. I mean, the body is nothing.
So when we say
Uh-huh.
they have realized, I would say, did I realize?
No,
I would put that way. Have I realized? So if I have not realized, if I have not realized, then my journey is still continuing. So it is my journey.
right.
It is your journey. It is no one else's journey, not even your wife's journey, not even your kid's journey, not even your father's journey. Soul is eternal and it is single, it is unique. You have your own journey. So what others do, it is their own journey. Okay.
Like ships in the night, eh?
Say that again.
Like ships in the night. I mean, you just see the lights. Someone's going, someone's coming. You don't even realize who's. Everyone's got their own journey.
Absolutely. Everyone has got their own journey. Then I have to worry about my journey, right? Because when I leave my body, it's just me.
कल्पेश
There's
ऋषि
no one else.
रणदीप नहीं होने वाला है.
Nobody, your relatives, nobody, they don't going to join you when you leave your
Right.
body.
Right.
They'll follow the process, whatever is required for your body, but your soul is gone. Soul has to go alone, right?
Yeah.
You can't say I'll have to, I need my partner with me. No, sorry. She may not be ready.
And so even when you go, nobody comes with you.
Yeah,
All the drama.
there you go. So what is 2.15 telling you? That one who is not disturbed by this happiness and distress, someone who can tolerate this, who understands this is perception, he is eligible for liberation. That
Eligible.
means he is on the right path. You know, he's got admission in the college. That's what Krishna says in 2.15. ये कन्विंस हो गया ना तुमको कि ये परसेप्शन है, हैप्पीनेस डिस्ट्रेस, और उससे आप डिस्टर्ब नहीं हुए, because you are convinced that this is only a perception. It is not real. It will come and go. It is not related to the soul. ये convince हो गए ना, you're eligible. ये this ensures your admission into the spiritual university. That is what Krishna says. Does it make sense? अभी लिबरेट नहीं हुए हैं, लेकिन जर्नी शुरू हो गई. So that conviction within you, that खाली पढ़ने से समझ गया वर्स, उससे एलिजिबल नहीं होते हैं. ओके, अगर अंदर से कन्विंस हो गए और उसके बाद लिटरली आप डिस्टर्ब नहीं हो रहे हो हैप्पीनेस और डिस्ट्रेस से, तो आप शुरू किया जर्नी. वो आपको ही पता, मुझे नहीं पता, और मेरे बारे में भी आपको नहीं पता, ना ही किसी के बारे में आपको पता पड़ेगा. आपको सिर्फ अपना ही पता करना है. उतना ही कर लिया तो बहुत है इस दुनिया में आपके लिए. दूसरों को छोड़ दो.
Babuji,
Yeah.
if the recognition, okay, I'm just trying to use, remember there was this Rishi Paraspuram, the one with the
Parash,
axes?
Parashuram is the incarnation of the Lord.
Right. Okay. So what I'm saying is he would have definitely been, he would have been self-realized, correct?
Oh, he was the Paramatma. What self-realized? He was a
So,
supreme.
okay. But the thing is, why did he go ahead and pick up, weapons and says, okay, well, I'm going to react this way?
Of course, you will also. Anybody would, right?
But sir, if you are self-realized, you realize that everything else is a perception, then
Self-realization doesn't mean that you stop your duty.
सर अभी ड्यूटी कहाँ आ गया बीच में?
काम तो करना पड़ेगा ना बॉस. ये दुनिया में आया तो ड्यूटी तो करना ही पड़ेगा ना. तो ऐसे थोड़ी जाएगा. कमाना तो पड़ेगा.
Okay.
सेल्फ रियलाइज हो गया फिर भी बीवी बैठी है खिलाने के लिए, बच्चे बैठे हैं पालने के लिए, वो सब करना पड़ेगा.
नहीं,
पहले
because here's the thing, मैं खाली सोच रहा हूँ कि okay, you actually coming to terms and everything else is Maya, right? Then in that case,
या
you get my point. For
या that is so you will see it with a different thought. Your thought process will change. You will deal with it. You'll deal with that. But that will not be your ultimate purpose of life. Your ultimate purpose will be your own realization, your own journey, right? Correct. That is just a duty. So what do you do for any activity in your life? You just do it. That's what Krishna is telling him, right? He will tell him further that you just do your duty. This
so it is
body.
it is actually a conflict. I mean, it's like, at least that's the way I
No,
see it. Either
no,
you
that's
walk
not.
along your own path, or you start doing duties. You concentrate on Maya. Then I mean, ये
No,
दोनों
no, no,
कैसे
no,
हो
no,
सकता है एक
no.
साथ में?
That is the art to balance both, my friend. So this is why the example is given of an extramarital affair. It is like an extramarital affair. कैसे मैनेज करोगे? कैसे करोगे?
दोनों को छोड़ के साधु बन जाओ यार.
नहीं कर सकते. उधर भी परेशान करेगी ये लस्ट. फिर से आ जाओगे. उधर कोई सन्यासी ढूंढ लोगे. फिर से शुरू हो जाओगे. ये प्रॉब्लम बाहर का नहीं है. ये प्रॉब्लम तुम्हारे अंदर का है.
Does everyone goes through this?
Everyone goes through this. Everyone. Understand one thing. This body concept is everywhere. वो सब वही समझते हैं कि मैं बॉडी हूँ. Everybody thinks like that. Absolutely. But the only thing is that they don't they don't understand that there is a soul also, and I have to try and realize that. The idea is कि यही बॉडी में सब करके खत्म होकर बस चले जाना है. खा पी के चले जाना है यहाँ पे. That's it. That is the life. But that is not the only purpose of this life. ये सब करना है एज अ ड्यूटी करना है, लेकिन अल्टीमेट पर्पस सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन है. ये समझ में आना चाहिए. That direction has to be changed. You'll when you see, so if I say for example, personally I may not be able to bring someone, but if you bring a self-realized person and a non-self-realized person, both, they will act in the same way. वो भी ऑफिस में जाएगा, वो भी काम करेगा, वो भी सब सब कुछ वही करेगा जो ये करेगा, सेम. लेकिन उनका मोटिवेशन अलग है दोनों का. पर्पस अलग है दोनों का. वो उनको ही पता है, तुमको नहीं पता पड़ेगा. तुमको अपना देखने का है, तुम्हारा पर्पस क्या है.
So, लेकिन पता कैसे चलेगा? I mean, it's like if you have to give an example between A and B, how does a person identify that someone is self-realized or not?
नहीं, वो पता क्यों करने का है तुमको? मेरा क्वेश्चन तुमसे, क्यों पता करने का है?
Sir, example है ना, थोड़ा बहुत बंदा किसी, someone can learn from someone's path.
अरे खुद का होगा ना, खुद का होगा, खुद का पता पड़ेगा. द प्रॉब्लम इज हमको देखने का कि होता है कि नहीं होता। ऐसा नहीं होता। अरे खुद का तो देख, पहले हुआ कि नहीं मेरा, पहले खुद को तो ठीक करेंगे ना। See, this is like, if I'll tell you in simple way, if we are only thinking that we are the body and not the soul, that's like a disease. Because what happens is, like for example, jaundice. अभी क्या होता है अगर हमको, if we think, that we are just this body, we are not this soul. Okay, this is called a disease condition. Conditioned soul बोलते हैं उसको, as per the Shastra. What happens in a condition? उसमें अगर हम लोग भगवान की भक्ति करते हैं तो मजा नहीं आता है, कड़वी लगती है वो शुरू में, लेकिन दारू मीठी लगती है। जबकि है ऐसा नहीं, दारू कड़वी है, भगवान का नाम मीठा है। ओके, लेकिन कंडीशन स्टेट है ना, उसमें उल्टा लगता है। लाइक जॉन्डिस, जॉन्डिस में क्या होता है?
Hmm.
जॉन्डिस में शुगर केन जूस कड़वा लगता है। वो शुगर केन जूस कड़वा नहीं है। तुम खुद डिजीज दो। सो व्हेन यू आर, एंड द प्रॉब्लम इज दैट कि वो शुगर केन जूस ही जॉन्डिस का इलाज है। So,
Hey, sir.
so if you see chanting, we find it difficult to even, have the thought process that this kind of thing may help me realize. कड़वी लगेगी, ये यार समझ में नहीं आ रहा, it doesn't convince me. लेकिन अगर एक बार पीना शुरू किया ना वो, तो जब असर होगा ना, then you will realize. You have to realize. Forget about others. Stop finding examples in this. The problem is, हम लोग यही advice, examples देखने का है मेरे को कैसे होते हैं, ऐसे नहीं मिलेगा. Until you are self-realized, you won't be able to understand whether other person is self-realized.
But Prabhuji, if
Yeah.
if somebody becomes self-realized, why will they have any motivation to do worldly activities?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So why we do worldly activities? We do it as a duty. So there are, again, I'll come back to,
Paradharma, paradharma.
so what you did was, self-realization was your paradharma. That is adhyatma. You did that. But you still have to do your naimittika. सुबह को उठ के जाना है टॉयलेट में ना, कैसे बंद करोगे उसको? एक्टिविटी तो करनी है ना, ब्रश भी करना है, टूथपेस्ट भी चाहिए, ये सब चाहिए ना, फिर खाना भी खाना है ना, दिन को चाहिए ना, तो उसके लिए पैसा भी कमाना पड़ेगा बॉस, करना तो पड़ेगा।
करेक्ट, बट जो हायर
हाँ,
पर्पस के लिए कर,
वो उसके लिए करना पड़ेगा, ऐसा करके सोचो। हाँ? चिकन खाने के लिए पैसा कमाना है, दारू पीने के लिए, पार्टी करने के लिए पैसा, वो मोटिवेशन अलग है। ये मोटिवेशन किसके लिए है? ये शरीर को मेरे को मेंटेन रखना है, ताकि मैं अपना सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन प्रोसेस कंटिन्यू कर सकूं। There are two different motivations.
Nay, but sir, I was just building on what Rishi had to say. If you believe that you're on the path of self-realization, then in that case, ये duty का चक्कर छोड़ो. I mean, it's like बाकी के जो लोग घर के अंदर है, वो अपना खुद
नहीं देख पाते हैं वो खुद का, क्योंकि आपने उनको अपने लूप में फंसा के रखा है ना। शादी की है ना, या बच्चे पैदा किए हैं ना, फैमिली है ना, माँ बाप है ना, सब है, वो अभी वो आ गए हैं, आपके कर्म है वो पिछले जन्म के या जो भी जन्म के, वो आ गए हैं अभी सामने, उसको तो निपटाना पड़ेगा बॉस।
But sir, अगर वो लोग souls हैं, I mean, they are souls too. I mean, you're looking at the external body too. I mean, essentially, that's all they are. तो
ये
उन
अभी
लोग
खाली बोलने की
basically
बात
don't.
है। Have you realized that you are a soul? Are you convinced that you are soul?
Sir, I'm trying to learn. That's why I'm here.
हाँ, वो पहले खत्म कर लेते हैं, उसके बाद उस पर चलेंगे, क्योंकि क्या है ना, हम लोग अगर आगे की सोचते हैं ना, तो अभी का टाइम निकल जाता है मेरे भाई। डोंट वरी अबाउट देम एट द मोमेंट, डू दैट ड्यूटी एज योर ड्यूटी, वो करना ही पड़ेगा। चलो, फॉरगेट अबाउट रिलेटिव्स, उनको तो खाना चाहिए ना, उसके लिए तो काम करना पड़ेगा ना, कि वो भी माँ बाप अभी देंगे तुमको, नहीं देंगे। घर चाहिए ना, रहने के लिए you need all that. सब कुछ चाहिए, गाड़ी भी चाहिए, सब कुछ चाहिए, काम करना पड़ेगा. That's why Krishna tells Arjun, you have to fight, my friend. काम तो करना पड़ेगा. Hmm?
But sir, Krishna himself had gone down to the to not to Duryodhana. He had gone to Dhritarashtra and said, "Is give me 5 villages, right, for them in order to stop the war."
Hmm. Because he wanted to save a lot of people from dying. Even the Pandavas wanted that. So that is a different level of thinking. कि we will be able to manage our own life with 5 villages, no problem. 5 गांव में हम लोग गुजर बसर कर लेंगे, लेकिन 5 गांव चाहिए.
तो
ऐसा नहीं
अगर
कुछ
वो
भी नहीं चाहिए.
So sir, लेकिन अगर वो arrangement होया था, then Arjun would never know about this, the Gita, and we would not
Yeah,
be studying it then.
yeah, very true. Very well thought. Yes. So yes, it's a good arrangement that we are able to understand this.
So basically, in order to learn about the words of the Lord, they had to wipe out the entire chorus.
So I hear that you have not read the introduction
So
fully.
introduction, the first 25 pages are read.
हाँ,
Aditi read all of it.
अभी बाकी है थोड़ा पढ़ने का, उसमें समझ जाओगे पढ़ोगे तो. It has got what you are saying. It has got the explanation of what you are saying. Okay. So the next verse, 2.16, it continues. नासतो विद्यते भावो ना भावो विद्यते सतः उभयोर अपि दृष्टोन्तस त्व अनयोस्तत्वदर्शिभिः. Says those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, which is the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. So this verse is again very important because Krishna is talking about two different substances here, body and soul. So those who are the seers of the truth, that means the ones who are of that category, who have taken the admission in that university of spiritual knowledge, who have taken that step, they have concluded further after studying the nature of both. The ones who are self-realized, they understand that they are two different substances or elements, soul and body.
Why the material body is called non-existent?
Non-existent means non-permanent, basically. It will
Okay.
perish. So it will perish after a period of time. It's just a matter of time.
Okay.
So it keeps on changing. Basically, the idea is that non-existent doesn't literally mean non. It means it keeps on changing.
Hmm.
So it is not a permanent existence, because if you see your body, if I see my body, 10 years ago I used to look different. 15 years ago, 25 years ago, I used to look different. 40 years ago, I used to look different. So it keeps on changing. The body is changing. So is the matter. Everything is changing. Matter decomposes. Of course, it takes another form and things like that. Oh, those things are understood, but it keeps on changing. So this matter is non-existent. It keeps changing, but the soul is not. Soul doesn't change. It's the same. So there are two substances basically in the creation of the Lord. So there is soul and then there is matter. That's the crux of understanding. We are basically a part of that eternal part, which is Satchidananda.
So Prabhuji,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Carry on.
Remember that equation E is equal to mc squared?
हम्म, हम्म.
Energy mass conversion तो होता रहता लगता है. I mean, I'm just
But
trying to look at it,
but where is
right?
the energy coming from?
नहीं, the constant out here being the speed of light, right?
That's okay.
So, right.
That's okay. How is the where is the energy coming from? I understood. Energy equal to जो भी वो energy का वो unit निकाला है उसने mc square में.
हाँ,
It is just that how is energy calculated? But where it is, what is the source of energy?
that is okay. Right, 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 right,
That
right,
that you don't know.
right, right. Okay, 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 okay.
That is that substance.
Yeah, creation of it is not known.
So that is a constant element or a substance, a eternal substance that doesn't change.
But that eternal substance
Yeah,
is that the supreme Lord we are saying.
correct.
But we also spoke about Achinta Bheda. So it is we are not part of that. We are separate. We are separate. We have a separate identity also.
Exactly, exactly. So we are a part and a parcel of that. That is Achinta Bheda Bheda.
So it's eternal and individual.
And a parcel. Parcel means eternal, individual, yes, and a parcel. Parcel means what? वही अपना parcel जो आता है अपने पास. वो parcel जाने का है वापस. हम लोग parcel है इधर. We have to go back. That is the understanding. So basically, why we think, why we said it's a perception? Because this is all is going to go. ये जाने वाला है सब. इधर इधर घर नहीं बनाने का है. इधर से जाने का है. इसको निपटाने का है. इधर I love the statement, Let's make this world a very happy place and a peaceful place to live in. ये बहुत सालों से कोशिश चल रही है. हो नहीं रहा है. और ये होना मुश्किल लग रहा है. लग रहा है ना धीरे धीरे और डिफिकल्ट होता जा रहा है ना. Do you see that? At least when I came to my senses, little bit of understanding and common sense, developed over a period of time. From that time till now, it has not improved. It has only got worse. Correct? Yeah, though we have advanced in technology, लेकिन are we able to make this world a happy and a peaceful place? नहीं हो रहा है ना? हो रहा है? होगा?
No,
होगा? I don't know.
bridge
So
टूटने के बाद
that is
cross कर
that
लो.
that is the reason. नहीं, bridge नहीं टूटेगा. Bridge तो है. That life is bridge. So that is the understanding. The Shastras say that this is a journey you have to complete. Don't make a house on the bridge because this is a journey. वो bridge को cross करना है. इधर रहना नहीं है. तो इधर don't make everything like better होता जाए. better agreed. ठीक है. better क्यों है? So that I can self realize. Understanding should be this. So that I can continue my spiritual journey. Because this sense perception is only temporary. ये आज मिला है खुशी, कल दुख मिलेगा, फिर परसों खुशी, फिर दुख, ये चलता रहेगा. डोंट थिंक दैट एक ऐसी स्टेट आ जाएगी जब मेरे बॉडी में ही रहूंगा मैं यहाँ पे और सब कुछ सुखी होगा. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं होगा. ऐसा स्टेट आता नहीं है. अनफॉर्चुनेटली आया ही नहीं अभी तक.
But Prabhuji,
हम्म.
not everybody has the same line ना. अगर ये straight line थोड़ी है. किसी का छोटा कट जाता है, किसी का बड़ा बड़ा हो जाता है.
Yeah, that is true. It depends on the karma, no doubt.
Right?
Yeah, but then you have to cross it any which ways, right? You have to do your things. You have to do your work. Okay. So the understanding, I hope, 2.14, 2.15, 2.16. ये कन्विक्शन के साथ तीनों वर्सेस अगली बार कोई बताएगा मुझे? मेरे ख्याल से
ऋषि
8 या
recruit
10,
be a good person.
8 to 10 वीक से हम लोग ने डिस्कस किया है. इतना तो मेरे को लगता है कि नहीं ऋषि?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
अभी मेरे ख्याल से ये तीनों वर्सेस एक कन्विक्शन आना चाहिए मेरे ख्याल से. या तो मेरे में प्रॉब्लम है या तो फिर आप लोग पढ़ नहीं रहे हो या सोच नहीं रहे हो.
या कोई कोई लेट आता है.
हाँ, कभी कभी.
मैं
हमेशा नहीं.
लेट आता हूँ. हाँ, तो मेरा प्रॉब्लम है फिर. So do I have to explain this again? 3 verses?
No,
No? Okay. If not, then next time,
we'll try to understand again.
good. Read it, try to understand, contemplate.
Again,
Think,
yeah.
really
I,
think.
I have
Will
not been reading.
okay, okay. Yeah. Please read. Please read.
Mm.
Please read these verses. और एक वर्स कोई ना 2.14 at least. ऐसा मैं किसी के मुंह से ना विदाउट किताब देखे ऐसा सुनना
That
चाहता
is
हूँ सट
Rishi.
करके.
That is
No, no,
Rishi.
that is
That is
this
Rishi.
Kshitij, I think.
Rishi. But
और
Rishi also.
क्षितिज हाँ
Okay.
बोल के आया नहीं आज ना. Okay.
Prabhuji, one
So
more
we'll,
question before we
yes,
end.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, sure, sure.
I was reading somewhere, just want to validate whether it is correct. They were talking about this when Lord Krishna came, took his avatar. They said, like we say, we have one inch of the Lord in us. They said, in his soul, over in the form that he came, this the amount of inch we have of the Supreme, that was the inch of the material world, or how do you say, the human form that he had. He was 99.99% God and 0.00001% of this. Is that something that is understood later on, or is there
I I
something of
haven't
that? I'm not quoting
I
properly, I
haven't
think,
seen
but
any calculation on Krishna's form, but
yeah.
I've seen a formula given in the Shastra about the soul.
Okay.
That is Balagrasta Shatabhagasya Shatata Kalpitasya cha. So that is take the hair strand, one hair strand, and take the tip of that, divide it, divide. So get the measurement of the tip of the hair, one strand, and on that from when you get the measurement, from that measurement you divide that by 1 by 100. Whatever result you get, again you divide it by 1 by 100. So it is 1 divided by 10,000.
Okay.
That is the size of the soul.
Okay. The reason why that was being answered, I remember the question was, because the Lord came in this material world, he also suffered in his. If you see all of the things that happened in his life,
Yeah.
so how can he suffer because he's a Lord? So they said that it is because of that part of that human form that he had taken, which was suffering. It was not the Lord who was suffering.
I have not come across any calculation with the Lord's body, but I've come across on the calculation of the soul. Although the reason why I would see, based on my reading, is why Lord shows such things is that even Lord has to go through all this kind of things in this material world. So we are not, you know,
Hmm.
something special. So we have to go through this, and we have to still do our duty.
Yep.
It's why we are doing this. That's important. Why are you making money? Why are you doing all this? That is the real question. Okay. Are you wanting to fuel your spiritual progress, or you want to fuel your sense gratification, or you want to enjoy more and more with this body? That is the question you should ask yourself. And the answer you would know. You don't need to answer me or anyone for that matter. You would know by yourself. And based on that, you know whether you are in a spiritual journey or whether you are here to enjoy. Make a house on the bridge. You know better.
Okay.
Okay? All right. So we'll end our discussion here. Catch you all next week. Next week it's Sunday, right, Kalpesh? Only?
Yes, Sunday will from next week onwards. We'll have only one day a week. That's Sunday.
Yeah. So we'll continue the same session next week. And this will be 1.24. So you guys have some more time. You can go through these verses again. And once again, when we'll reach there, I hope we don't have to repeat all over again. By that time, I hope you'll be convinced that there are two substances, a spirit soul and a body, material body. It takes time. Yeah. No stress. Take it easy. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.